Hi, this is Lindsay here with Tune In Press. I'm here with William Ryan Key. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
So this tour is kind of coming to a close,
Yes,
right?
we have 2 shows left starting tonight.
Yeah.
almost
So
done.
how has everything been fully?
It's been amazing. It was like, this is the first time I've done anything really professionally other than Yellowcard in my life, and I had no idea what to expect. And I also, don't have a record company or anything really pushing the project. It's all been kind of word of mouth and whatever reach I do have on social media, which isn't, it's good, but it's not, I don't have 1 million followers on social media, you know what I mean? So it's pretty limited, and we've really just, the shows have been amazing. All the major markets, especially out, New York and Philly, Boston, LA, those Chicago, those shows were like packed and just blew my mind. Overall every show has been amazing, but to know that there's like that support in those major market cities is, that's where it really starts and builds and grows from, I think. So, it's just, it's such a different experience, not just for the fans, but for me too. People are used to seeing me and the band, kind of this high energy, people flying over the barricade and running around in circles all night long, and now it's like I stand in one place with my eyes closed for an hour and a half, you know? So it's just a completely different experience, but I think both myself and the fans sort of walk into the room every night, like, not really knowing what to expect from each other, and that provides this really cool, like, embracing of each other, where we kind of just, like, the show starts and we get in the groove, and everybody just kind of like takes it in as it happens. And it's been a long time since I've had that kind of experience. Since Yellowcard started out, really, almost 20 years ago when I joined the band and we started touring back in like 2001. It's been since then that I've had this kind of experience, and so it's been incredible. The support I'm getting from people is like just mind blowing to me. And if I put 200 or 300 people in a room, it feels like I've sold out an arena right now. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, I know on Instagram you were saying initially you were kind of nervous about just going out and doing your solo stuff only. Is that just because of such the big difference musically?
No, I think it was more that I guess that's a part of it, is the sonic difference and the stylistic difference in the songs and the music for sure. But I think the more like sort of broad stroke thing is that this tour was always going to be like a test, almost like a barometer kind of for, do we keep going? Do I keep pursuing this project and like record more music and try to actually build a touring career around it? Or is it kind of like, well, we tried, and honestly, like, just no idea how to gauge it. Very, very specifically, if you look at like ticket sales on a tour like this, it's something I'm very not used to from being in Yellowcard for almost 20 years. There's not a lot of like walk up or like close to the show sales on a Yellowcard tour. People buy their tickets when they go on sale. This kind of touring, which I haven't done in 20 years, and I don't even remember if it was the same when I did it because it's been so long. In these smaller rooms, it's really like the last 48 hours before the show, people go and buy tickets. And so, whereas it first came out and I was like, oh, this is going to be a disaster, and then like just a couple days before every show, it's like, it just spikes. A burst of people, and it's turned out to be really promising. I'm trying to be like very open book, very honest about how everything's going with everyone, and like keeping fans included in the process and everything. And like, am I selling out every show? No, I'm not. But enough people are coming to make it worthwhile for everyone, and it being just this DIY, like grassroots thing that's just starting from word of mouth, and a couple of EPs. I can hope and imagine that if I was to put out a full length record with some support behind it, that 100 people would turn into 2, and in the cities where I had like 2 or 3 would turn into 5, and then we're really onto something, and it feels like we might be. So I'm really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know in 2017, Yellowcard kind of did their final, finale show in California, right? Did you guys do that as like your big final show? Like, did that give you closure as well as you think fans closure for that chapter?
I think we did such a good job of the rollout and the completion of the final tour and the final record. It was so calculated and planned. We had known that it was a decision that we were going to make or something we were going to announce at least a year before we announced it.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time carefully choosing what we were going to say and what we were going to do and how the tour was going to be and how we were going to roll it out to make sure that we were ending the band on our own terms and the way we wanted it to be. So
right.
It's tough to say, like, to put it in terms of closure. I mean, it's always going to be a part of my life. You know, it's why I'm sitting here talking to you today, is because I was in that band. You know, it's why I get to keep doing what I love to do. So I don't know if it will ever be closed. You know, it will always kind of be there as this huge part of my life. It was you know, a quarter of my life almost. It's like, or almost half of my life really. So, but I think if you were, I would hope that if you asked, you know, diehard fans of the band, like came to like say multiple shows on that tour, on the final tour, or were at that last show, that they would say it was sort of like a cathartic experience for them, knowing that this was it, and that, you know, we were doing it the right way. You know, because we definitely didn't want to be a band that just sort of disappeared, and I know for certain we're not going to be a band that, like, just like a lot of bands do, it just comes back and the whole final tour wasn't the final tour at all because we're going to do a reunion in 5 years anyways. That's not going to happen with Yellowcard. Yeah. So as much closure as there can be for us, yes, we did have it on that trip because we just knew it was really the end.
Okay. I know right now you're touring with Selfish Things. Mm-hmm. They're awesome. I like them. I've seen them live before. You did a song with them called Drained. How did that collaboration kind of come to be, and is that the reason you guys ended up touring together?
A little bit of both, yeah. We actually have the same manager. So,
okay, cool.
I was our manager approached me way back when we were starting to plan the tour and just said, hey, I have this band from Canada that I'm working with, and they're great dudes, and I really lucked out because their drummer is playing drums for me on the whole tour, so that is that's really helpful for me as far as like space and hotel rooms and the van and everything. It's really, really logistically helpful, and he's also insanely talented, so that worked out really great for everyone. Yeah. So basically the thing was, you know, here's some music, check it out. Also, Jordan, their drummer, is definitely down to play with you on the tour, and that all sounded like a great deal to me. So, and they've turned out to just be the sweetest dudes. We're having such a good... The tour family was real good on this run.
Yeah. Yeah, it all sounds like it got calculated out pretty well.
Yeah,
like, you help me, and I'll help you, and team up.
I'm going to keep riding the... I'll play drums for the dude from Yellowcard wave as long as I can.
Exactly.
You know? It's worked out great. And like I said, he's wicked talented, so it's been fun to play with him.
So I'm going to talk to you all about your new music now. So your first EP that you came out with was 13. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you got started with the recording process? I know you have your own studio,
I do.
Right? So were they all recorded there?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, most of it.
Okay.
I bounce around Nashville to a couple of friends' studios as well to do certain things. Like I don't have like a big live room to do drums in, so we do drums. There weren't any drums on 13. I guess I should backtrack to that, but either way, I do work at some other friends' studios.
Okay.
It's like my friend Will from Cartel, the singer for the band Cartel, has a really killer spot, and my friend Arun from Saves the Day, who like kind of co-produced all this new music with me, he has a great little spot too that we do some work in. But we do the majority. Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool little community we have down there. But we do the majority of the work at my place for my stuff.
Yeah.
So the whole thing just came to be when I got offered to go out on the road with Newfound Glory. And it's funny because I've been like saying kind of little anecdote about this on stage. It's like I get asked to go out with like the reigning kings of pop punk in the world. So I naturally go record a bunch of like ambient indie folk acoustic music to take on the tour. So it's like not lost on me. Take 13 as it is, whether it's me or whoever, just take those 5 songs and put them with a Newfound Glory tour, and you're like, that does not really fit. But it was such a huge opportunity for me to get out and still play for, you know, and kudos to those dudes for hearing the music and be like, yeah, you can still come on the tour, you know? Because I know from being in a band, a rock band for as long as I was, you know, picking the opening acts is a really important part of it, and like the vibe and the energy you want to keep throughout the show based on the opening acts you decide to take is important. So I was very like humbled and thankful that they were like, yeah, we know you're gonna play this sad acoustic music all by yourself at our like high energy rock show, but we would love to have you still. So it was a huge opportunity for me. I'm super grateful to them, and most importantly, I mean, as important, if not more, than the shows and the chance that I got, the chance that I had to go play for thousands of people over the course of that month and a half or whatever it was, is that it was the motivating factor for me to make music. I had a year of post Yellowcard life just like wallowing and just not, feeling sorry for myself, to be honest, like not knowing what I was going to do with my life, because I had this one thing for so long and it was like this constant in my life, and then it's gone.
Right.
And so I was all over the place as far as what I wanted to do, and I really thought I was going to get into more of kind of the, call it like behind the camera side, producing and songwriting and stuff with other artists. And that just like, I never felt like a real fire lit to like get after that, to like be going to shows every night and meeting bands and, like hustling to get albums to produce and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I knew that wasn't because I had lost my hustle. Like I still wanted to hustle for something. I wanted to get after something. It just wasn't that. And so when they offered me this tour, it was like a very conscious decision I made that I didn't want to just take an acoustic guitar out and play Yellowcard songs. I like just not the look I wanted to have, not like going down memory lane every night for the shows. I just didn't feel like that was anything new for anyone to see.
Right.
And so it was a real motivating thing for me to be like, okay, well, why don't you actually apply yourself and see what comes out? And I knew that the music I was going to write was going to be really different from Yellowcard. I mean, if you listen to the last two Yellowcard records, they're still rock records, but you can hear that it's pretty far removed from like the pop punk, I guess you would say, that we started out with. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so a lot of those influences, a lot of the music I listen to now, a lot of the bands and artists and singer songwriters and people that influence me, I think we're finally able to really be let out of their cage with 13.
Yeah.
And I was able to really kind of just stand up and say, this is where, and it's not that I am not proud of Yellowcard or not like amazed by the career I had in Yellowcard, but this is who I am now at this phase of my life, and this is the music that I'm passionate about writing. And so it's not to say that I was like set free and I didn't have like the burden of the band and now I could do what I wanted or anything like that. It was really just circumstances led to not having the band anymore, and then circumstances led to making my own music, and 13 is what came out.
The kind of music that you're playing now, did you listen to anything, I guess, similar to this while you were in Yellowcard? Or were you mostly kind of
that's the thing is like
on pop punk stuff?
No, I couldn't tell you the last time I was like listening to punk rock records or like pop punk records. Back when we started, that's when that was a bigger sort of influence in my life. And I'll tell you what happened. Like, I know the moment that it happened.
Yeah.
In 2005, I got my first Explosions in the Sky record. And that band just changed my entire universe. I mean, it was like, I don't know. I don't know that anyone could have ever told me I would be into instrumental music at all in any genre. But just that I got, I think it's their second record. It's either their second or third record, but it's called The Earth Is Not a Cold Dead Place. Okay. And I was watching Friday Night Lights, the film, the movie, the Peter Berg film, and I was like, what is this music? I have to know what this is right now. And I was in my I was living in New York at the time, and I was watching this movie, and I went online and ordered a CD from wherever you would order a CD from in 2005, Yeah. And it just blew me away, man. The band just blew me away, and it led me down this path of all these like instrumental post-rock bands, and I started getting way more into singer-songwriter, like alt country and kind of, they call it like indie folk type stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's really been my palette for a long time. I do not say this is a guilty pleasure. Coldplay is like my favorite band of all time. They've been a band for 20...
A lot of people say that's a guilty pleasure.
I will not. I will own it.
Proud.
I will own it proudly.
Okay.
I think that dude writes some of the greatest melodies ever created by man, and the band they just write amazing songs, and I'm not guilty of loving a band that writes great songs.
You shouldn't be.
So that's been a huge influence on me, and I think a lot of that branched out for me into some of this more like atmospheric instrumental music that I listen to. I even listen to a lot of electronic music, like just stuff you would never think that
we would expect you to
Yellowcard was listening to. Exactly.
Okay.
And so all those things have really been a big influence on me, and also I think hearing all that, if you take the time and go listen to some of the later Yellowcard stuff, Lift a Sail and the self-titled record, you can go, oh, okay, well now that makes sense.
That's when that kicked in.
Yes,
yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's been a decade or so plus of a very different musical influence than the music that my band was creating. It was never hard though to like be in Yellowcard. Like I still loved writing those songs. I loved writing those high energy, super powerful, melodic, guitar heavy songs. I loved it. I mean, that's what we did together and what we did well together. And so when we got in the studio with Yellowcard, it was never like, I don't want to make a Yellowcard record, or I don't want to make a pop punk record, or we always tried to like not genreify ourselves. I think, and nothing against any artist or band or anyone that is like, the front runner of a genre and like owns it and does it and loves it. We were just always a band that wanted to like try all kinds of different things, and so I think that just coming out of that and being able to do my own thing is just an extension of that. It's just like I'm kind of free to just try whatever I want in the studio, and there's no parents, no rules.
Yeah, for sure. I think out of your new EPs, out of both, for sure, my favorite is Old Friends.
Cool.
It does make me super sad, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a sad one.
But can you kind of talk to us a little bit about that song?
Yeah, I mean, that song is just, it's pretty on the chin as far as like, it's a song about the darker places I think that I went through my career in Yellowcard, or just through adulthood, really. It doesn't have to necessarily be about Yellowcard, but just like the distance that gets created between yourself and the people that care about you sometimes when you do what we do for a living. And certain folks are a lot better at navigating success and the road and things like that, and certain folks are not. And I think I've always been a little bit of both. I've had my good times and bad times as far as like how I've handled the success and the distance and the relationships in my life. So again, I'm just trying to be as honest as I can with these songs,
Do you feel like you're kind of at a better place with your family and friend relationships, like since that song has come out? Like, did they all kind of listen to it and be like, hey,
I think that I was before.
Yeah.
That. I don't think it was that song like sent me into some sort of reinvention. I think I was already there. It's just I'm able to, as a songwriter, sit down and kind of dig in and go back as far as I want to go to write about things, So yeah, I mean, these songs are coming from a place of like truth and self-analysis, I think. Yeah,
for sure. Like I said, it's for sure my favorite. I just kind of like how I feel like we all kind of go through that, like not even people that are,
of course,
in that same field,
yeah.
But we all lose contact with people in high school or middle school or what have you, and you lose contact with them.
Yeah, for sure.
So more recently you came out with Virtue, and I feel like there's a similar like musical vibe to both EPs, but the themes are kind of different. Is that kind of why you chose to do one EP and then another versus kind of doing a full
No, not necessarily, because I didn't I think I can explain like how they're different and why, but I didn't do a full length record just because like I didn't know what this was gonna be. I had no idea. And one of the reasons that 13 is so stripped down and just like an acoustic guitar and a vocal is because I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew if I was going to end up touring some on it and stuff like that. So but I've always been a songwriter that doesn't write music until it's time to write the music. You know what I mean? So it's like if we're going in to make a record, I will go, okay, well, if pre-production or whatever recording starts on this date, I need to make sure I'm writing by this date, and I try to just do all the music sort of in this like cohesive place, instead of like I'm not the kind of songwriter that has a bunch of ideas laying around that I've worked on over a 2-year period and then I start making a record. So I think that's naturally going to make each recording process sort of take on its own direction, whether it's lyrically or musically or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, by the time I got to making Virtue, I was definitely in a different headspace and considering other things as I was writing,
Yeah. In the song No More, No Less, you say, because I've seen death that only you can understand. What is that line kind of talking about?
It's actually depth.
Okay.
I need to print the lyrics and put them up somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
I keep saying I'm going to put them on my website, and I just haven't taken the time to do it. I think that is, without divulging like who that song is about and what relationship it's referring to, the idea that like only you and I have been through this thing together. You know, like no one outside of our relationship can understand the depth of what it is that we've been through. Right. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just having someone kind of there that relates to exactly what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So we just have a few more questions and we're almost done. I did see recently on social media, and I completely back up what you said just as a prelude to what I'm about to say. Just, I guess there was some issues like at the Dallas show, and I saw the comment from the one person. But you kind of talked about artists kind of being under a magnifying glass, and I wanted you to kind of elaborate on that and just how people, they look up to musicians and they put them on such a high pedestal sometimes, and just what are your thoughts on that?
I think that the point I was trying to make there was just that oftentimes, and it's a fine line you have to walk, because you can't try to like make excuses for bad behavior, you know? And so it's important that you recognize when you're out of line or if you've done something inappropriate. But that said, there are a lot of days in this life of being a musician, and especially when you're as lucky as I've been to have the success at the level that I've had success, where it just feels like bad days are not allowed, you know? It's just like you have to be on all the time. And I have friends that are in bands that are so good at it, they just will never show a negative emotion to anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
And I envy that in a way, you know, because I have never had that gift. Like, if I'm on good, I'm great. If I'm bad, I'm so bad. And it's like, I've always had a hard time being in a challenging or stressful situation in a public place, whether it's on stage or whatever. Just always struggled with it. I've always struggled with being able to just let it roll and get through it and deal with it after the fact, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a lot better. I like to believe I'm a lot better about it now in my life than I have been in the past. But every once in a while you just get overwhelmed and make a mistake, you know? And so that was perfect, so. that night we just had, you know, we had a gnarly just technical difficulties like crazy. And what frustrates me the most after the fact is knowing, you know, that I had kind of, you know, if I had a bad attitude on stage and it was, or I was like inappropriate to another band member or a crew member or something under the heat of the situation, and I know that I did that, and you know, that's very frustrating. But what's frustrating for me is that like I know where it comes from, and even though I also am very aware that it's wrong and it's like comes out, it's very bad when it comes out, but it is coming from like a good place, if that makes sense. It's like I was so disappointed that the show couldn't be what it should have been for the crowd, that I got overwhelmed and you know, just kind of got flustered in the heat of battle, as I would put it, you know. And so I felt like, you know, the social media post you're referring to, I felt really connected to everyone on this journey so far, on this like solo endeavor, and I just felt like it was important to say, hey, you know, I made a mistake and I want to apologize if anyone you know, was offended by my behavior or thought I was out of line, you know, and again, not making excuses for myself, because I'm fully aware.
We're all humans. Like, I get it.
And so that's where that came from, and I think the magnifying glass thing is real. I do, and I will not use it as an excuse for bad behavior, as I said, but nonetheless, I do believe it's true. I think that it's tough for whether anyone in public life, whether it's a musician, an actor, a politician, whoever it is, to have a bad day. Mm-hmm. And people find out about it because it's in public, you know? And so, you know, whether it's on stage or it's like on the way to the bus after the show, or it's whatever it is, you know, you could gather up everyone who had one bad experience, you know, over a 20-year period, and they'd all have a story to tell about the one time that, you know, you weren't the way they wanted you to be in that moment. And if you get the chance to remedy it and apologize or have a conversation with the person, that's always nice. Yeah. And I've always found that it ends up well and everybody kind of understands each other. And if you're a mature adult, you can have a conversation, you know. But, you know, it is what it is. And I'm always trying to self-improve, but some days you slip up, you know.
Yeah. So on a more exciting note,
Yeah.
you have Slam Dunk Fest coming up. How excited are you for that?
I'm stoked more. I think I'm more stoked that I'm playing guitar with Newfound Glory at Slam Dunk, because those shows are gonna be just mental.
Yeah.
Like closing one of the, or I think they're closing one of the main stages. But it's, just huge crowd, and I'm just gonna be banging my head playing guitar. I'm very, very excited for those shows. I'm gonna be doing a little acoustic show, which has kind of gotten mixed reviews as far as like how people feel about it, which goes back actually to our first conversation about the band ending and closure and all that. Because I'm going to do a little acoustic Yellowcard set, and I, some people are super psyched, and some people are like, don't understand, the band broke up, what are you doing? My whole thing is like, I'm going to be there anyways, because I'm playing guitar for Newfound. The festival asked me if I would play, and they asked me specifically if I would play Yellowcard songs. And I think representing the heritage of the band at a show like that is a really special thing. I don't think it has anything to do with the band reuniting or trying to, piggyback on Yellowcard's success for my solo career or anything like that. I think it's just going to be a cool half hour to hang out and sing some songs that we all love. I mean, at this point, I'm doing Yellowcard covers. Like, anyone can do it. You could go play Slam Dunk and do Yellowcard covers if you got booked, So, it's going to be a Yellowcard cover set, So I'm really excited. It's going to be, those shows, Slam Dunk shows, are super fun from both a crowd perspective. Always just amazing. I mean, it's a very like condensed, super packed version of Warped Tour kind of. It's only a couple days, but there's all those bands, and so the energy is just insane. But also, all your friends are there. Every band you've ever known or toured with is there.
Everyone is
so
there.
the hangs are just amazing, after the shows and stuff. So I'm excited.
So just a few fun questions, and we'll wrap up. I always like to ask a few fun ones at the end, just to kind of get your mind rolling.
Cool.
You are a brand new color in the crayon box. What color are you?
Oh, man.
That means you need a name.
Cabernet.
Okay. And how would you describe this color to someone that can't see it?
Man. How do I... Rich.
Okay. I'll go with that.
One word? Or like a full thing?
It doesn't have to be a full thing. Maybe one more adjective.
Like deep, rich red.
But they don't know what red looks like.
Oh. You're right, they don't. I apologize to the community of people that can't see the color. That was very insensitive. Yeah, like rich and deep and thick and dramatic.
I like dramatic. I feel like that works well.
I need to take a drink after that. That was intense.
Like that was too much. If you suddenly found out the average human lifespan was tripled, would you live your life any differently than what you are?
I don't think so. No. I mean, I think that one thing that is, if you try to like find things that you like about yourself, or that you think you do well for yourself, like for your self-help, and like is living like now, living in the moment I'm in.
Yeah.
I've had a charmed life being in a band and playing music and traveling all over the world, but it's also really driven me to remain successful so that I can keep doing those things. I love traveling.
Right.
I love seeing the world. I love getting on an airplane and going places. So it's been a real motivating factor for me to work hard so that I can, be able to do those things I love, and I just will pick up and go at a moment's notice. So I think I would just keep doing what I do.
Yeah. And then, do you plan on creating any music later this year in terms of a flowing, now that you've kind of gotten an idea of what this tour is like?
I think we're planning on tracking like August, September, October.
Perfect.
And making a full-length record,
A new endeavor?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, this tour was a real good test for going forward, so the only questions up in the air now are like how we're making the record. Like, am I gonna try to go get a record deal, or am I just gonna still make it by myself and then try to bring it to labels to kind of like build a team, crowdfund the record? Maybe we're talking about doing some really cool, not just like, hey, give me money to make a record. Like, we're talking about doing a whole kind of second, I can't really give it away, but a whole big thing that would go with it if we did it that way. So that's on the table too.
Okay.
It's also that crowdfunding would be a good way to like continue to keep it hours. You know, when I say hours, like me and my manager, who's a good friend of mine, that's helping me do all of this. He's amazing. But like, you know, just keep that DIY thing, like getting to do it all ourselves on our own terms. It's been very cool so far. So doing an album in that way would give us that freedom still. So there's a lot of options. We're not sure yet, but I definitely would like to go make a record this year. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything that you want to say to fans?
I guess it's a good time. This is coming out soon to just say thanks to every single person who came out to one of these shows on this U.S. tour. I had no idea what to expect, and like I said, I was very honest about. I was terrified, to be honest, about taking this out, you know, and just not knowing if anyone was going to show up. And I just feel like some of these shows, all of these shows, they've just been so like special for everybody, myself and you guys. So I'm very grateful. Looking forward to moving forward.
Awesome. This has been Lindsay with William Ryan Key for Tuned In Press. You can check out this full interview at tunedinpress.com. Thanks so much. Bye.